And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining from wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to this month's webinar, Top 10 Reasons to Upgrade to Epicor 10.2. This is actually following up on our webinar from last month, De-Risk Your Epicor ERP Upgrade. So probably some of you, if not many of you, were on that event. So thank you very much for joining us today. And for those of you who were not on that event, you can actually see the replay of that. It's a great setup for what we're going to talk about today. So last month we were talking about steps you can do to take the risk out of doing a major systems upgrade. And we looked at some of the terrific tools that Epicor's made available to you. We had Tim Grubbs doing a demo. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go into more detail around the 10.2 functionality. And this is developing quickly. So this is very timely information. Some of this we're literally just getting this week. So if you have some very detailed questions, it may be that we just don't have the answer yet. It hasn't perhaps come out. So we'll definitely follow up. Just a little bit of background. Probably most of you are familiar with the EstesGroup, but for those of you who aren't, just a little background on why we're doing this webinar today and who we are. So we've actually been doing enterprise resource planning, implementation, and business process change and optimization since 2004. So a long time, have a great track record with this. We our success rate for ERP implementation is well above the industry average. As a matter of fact, we have over 90% success rate over the past 3 years. We define success as going live on time, on budget, with minimal disruption to your business. And I think the thing that really sets us apart is that all of our consultants are very senior. We only hire people who are from the industry, so we're manufacturing and distribution experts. So what we do is we seek to understand your business first, your processes and your people, and then we help you fit the technology to your business to help you meet those desired future states. And we do that with a consistent methodology we call PEAK. So we're experts at this. We're terrific at fresh implementations, brand new. We can do upgrades, obviously, as we're talking about today. But oftentimes you find that people may be stalled in an implementation or an upgrade, and we're terrific at that too. So just a little background. I'm Jeff Claubert. I run sales and marketing for the EstesGroup. And candidly, I'm the least important person on the session today. I'm just going to be your moderator. What we have is we've got two Epicor experts. Ben Nixon, probably many of you are familiar with Ben. He was legendary for his performance tuning and older versions of prior versions of Epicor. Now the product, Ben worked himself out of a job. He's like the Maytag man. So he's VP of our enterprise technology now. And then Bruce Shriver has worked with Ben for many years. Bruce has done a ton of implementations, really expert resource. We're excited to have him today. And then from Epicor, Tim Grubbs is going to be joining us later on. He's actually on the road today, and we did this rather short notice because we knew 10.2 was coming out, and we wanted to get this information to you before the holidays. So Tim is going to be joining us later on in the presentation. He'll just come when he's able to. Just a little housekeeping here. So we want this to be an interactive session, but we've got a lot of information we want to share with you, and we want to get through it. So what I'd like you to do is enter in your questions in the chat panel as we go along, queue them up, and I'll be managing those questions. And then we're going to go for 40 to 45 minutes. And then at the end of that, we'll have Q&A. And then we're gonna officially stop at the top of the hour. However, if the conversation's still going on, we'll stay on and talk with you for as long as you'd like. For those of you who can't stay on, we're going to have this replay available, so you'll be able to get all of it or share it with folks that couldn't participate today. You can just contact Ben Nixon or Bruce Shriver for those slides. Ben Nixon, how many years are you with Epicor, Ben?
I was with Epicor 17 years.
17 years. And give us a quick background of your background. A quick rundown of your background. Pardon me.
I've always ran the technical consulting group. I've been involved in a lot of architecture planning, a lot of what happened planning, hardware planning, infrastructure, future proofing, I like to call it. I've done a lot of guidance there and had a lot of fun.
That's great. Well, I know that we've been doing a lot of marketing around you, and you certainly do drive a lot of engagement. So that's been pretty fun. To me, it's been like shooting fish in the barrel, driving engagement with your name. So terrific. And Bruce, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. I was at the I've been at the EstesGroup rather for a couple of years now, but prior I was at Epicor for about 7 years, and I was in the technical group doing installation and configuration of the Epicor 9 and Epicor 10 product, and their add-on ancillary products as well. And then I moved into a project management role there, and glad to be with the EstesGroup now in a technical consulting and project management role as well.
Okay, so you can see that what we're going to cover today is what we felt were the top 10 reasons to upgrade to Epicor 10.2. Certainly, specifically for your business, there may be other reasons that fit right in, but these we thought were the top highlights. So we're going to cover them in a fair degree of detail today. But again, this is all very late breaking stuff. So we've been attending sessions, talking with Epicor, working with the code ourselves to get up to speed. But if there are some questions that we just haven't been informed of yet, we'll take that down and we'll go run them down with Epicor and we'll get back to you on it. So please do queue up whatever questions you have, and let's make this highly engaging. So with that, actually, let me turn it over to you, Bruce, and you and Ben can drive. I'll turn my camera off just to save some screen real estate, but I'm always happy to jump on and participate myself as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you joining. I know a lot of you are coming from varied backgrounds, what version you might be on currently, but I guess we've got some exciting information about Epicor 10.2, some of the capabilities, features, and improvements, and we're excited to share them. So without any hesitation, let's dive into them here. Number one here, what are the risks of running unsupported software? As it states here in a recent study, by a third-party survey of manufacturers, they found that more than 75% of the leading manufacturers are implemented on the latest ERP release, or one release behind. And really what that's talking about is the competitive edge. And so it's very important to stay current. And I guess we won't labor on that too much, but the features and functionalities that are available in 10.2 are excellent, and we'd love to work with you to get you moving towards that direction. Number two here, why you need to replace your out-of-date operating systems. As many of you know, Server 2003 ended its support in July of 2015, and basically the key thing here is that security risk is high. There's not any more patches. There's no updates. 2003 and older operating systems as such are targets for security breach. So we want to make sure that we get the old operating systems out of your environment and get you upgraded to the new operating systems as well as the newest ERP solutions.
Bruce, I'd also like to add, as we discussed in our last webinar, a lot of the operating systems out there right now are in 2008, SQL 2008. Those are going to be unofficially supported by Microsoft by January of 2020. That's really 2 years away if we think about it. We Absolutely. Need to be concentrating on getting these operating systems updated. As I like to say, the word future-proofing, let's stay current, be ready to move forward. Epicor's made it easy to stay that way.
Ben, thank you for that information. Absolutely. 2008, yes, will be end of life cycle as well, coming up here soon. And as he mentioned, we want to plan moving forward to get you updated to the latest OS and the latest SQL versions as well. Make sure we're utilizing the most recent technology. So number three, Epicor 10.2 is fast. Find out why. By moving to 100% Microsoft stack for Epicor, you can see how development is simplified and dramatically reduces the number of builds to maintain for each release. There's a different cadence moving forward with the Epicor product at this point. As probably many of you know, they're not doing these one-off fixes and patches. There's a release cadence for updates, not necessarily full upgrades, but updates as they come out. And it's been developed, and it's much easier to keep up to date with the latest patches as well. So that's wonderful. And of course, one other key thing, I kind of akin this to different transportation modes. I don't personally ride the light rail, but other people do. And when they do, then the transportation network in general is less crowded. And why I bring that up is because there's many customers that are on multi-tenant SaaS. And what Epicor does with that, even if you're not on multi-tenant SaaS, but what Epicor does with that is that they actually do analytics on the areas of the product that are hit the most often and used the most frequent. And they also tune the application to those areas. So it's a great deal that the multi-tenant technology is out there. Even if you're an on-premise customer, it allows them to do analytics and actually speed up the software for all users. Moving forward, regarding the Epicor stack, as many of you maybe are aware, if you're at Epicor 905, previously we had the progress layer in here and basically a middleware that was involved, and it basically had a progress schema, went to a SQL schema for the database. Now in Epicor 10, obviously the whole progress layer has been removed. We're at a complete Microsoft stack to Microsoft IIS and SQL Server.
Just a little bit. The fact that it's multi-threaded, I would think that's also a big performance boost because you're going to be able to run multiple machine instructions, on a per core basis. So, what type of performance hit are we going to get from, or performance enhancement are we going to get from this multi-threaded capability?
Well, you're going to get a lot of varied answers there, Jeff. Everyone's response is, "Wow, it's fast." I've never sat down with the stopwatch and timed it. I've had a lot of people tell me it's 50%, 75% faster. A lot of it depends on your daily function. Mm-hmm. But this stack rearrangement, the rewrite of the code, there's no more progress. It's all C#. It's fast.
That's great.
And it's like an application should be.
We were just out doing a business process review last week in Massachusetts, and they were talking about a couple of the reports. They absolutely love the reports, but it just took a long time for the system to generate them, and people had to wait for it. Probably some of you experienced that. Now with 10, we're just going through getting ready to do the implementation. That should fix that issue. So they're very excited about that.
Absolutely. Another key move regarding the reporting, obviously, is that many of you might be utilizing Crystal reports. You can still utilize your Crystal reports moving forward to 10, but SSRS reports are also native in the Epicor ERP 10 environment, as you're probably familiar. That's another great opportunity in that regard.
That's great. Well, thanks for speaking.
Sure. Moving forward here, the Epicor ERP homepage, as it currently stands, it's very static, especially in Epicor 9 or earlier versions. The environment's very static. It's user-driven. You go in, you dig around, you find your data. The exciting thing in Epicor 10.2 is the homepage has become a dashboard that's built on BAQs on the back end, and it provides incredible matrix and KPIs for the end user, and they're customizable for user or for department, for example, manufacturing, financial, things of that nature, and we'll dive into a little bit more about that here shortly. But I've seen some demos of this, and we're going to have it installed in our environment here shortly as well, and hope to give some in-depth detailed demos of it down the road. But I have seen a live demo of it, and it drives the data to the user with incredible information. And as I mentioned down here, there's predefined delivered functional home pages. There's 3 different areas that are defined in the financials, the manufacturing, and the supply chain. And again, this is kind of the current version of the Epicor 10. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. But moving forward, the KPIs will be delivered are kind of broken out here, as I mentioned. The financial, manufacturing, and supply chain management. I won't dive into them too deeply, but as you can see, there's great metrics there that get delivered. And on this next screen here is an interface screenshot of one of the new dashboards, or the home page, if you will. And as always, Epicor has the opportunity for the users to utilize the old interface or go with the new interface. But the feedback has been incredible thus far. Users really, once they get in here and start setting them up, can define what metrics they want to have available to them when they come into the application, and it's incredible. The other thing that can be done now, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner here, there's actually an icon up there that you can set up for each company that you're in. So you can quickly have a visual as to which company you're in. Thank you. And again, we'd recommend the Chrome browser. Seems to have the best success.
Right.
So as I mentioned, you can now put logos of different companies if you're doing a multi-company scenario. You can see that in the upper left-hand corner. And then you can have your favorites and all the things that you're used to seeing and your recents and things up on this left-hand side. It's very configurable. And oftentimes people say, oh, I don't like change. I don't want to, I like what I'm doing works. But once users get into this and start utilizing this information, it's incredible. And again, it's real time based on BAQs. And this is a core functionality feature of the 10.2. So this isn't an add-on licensing or anything to that level. It's actually base standard in 10.2, which is exciting as well. Again, we're used to seeing this interface, the old school interface. You can also still utilize the product in that functionality as well. Number 4, thinking of moving to a cloud or a hosting environment. Find out why Epicor 10.2 is a great platform for either environment. As some of you may be aware, there's many opportunities out there to either have your application on-premise, go multi-company with the application, or do dedicated tenant with the same application, and everyone has their own individual database, or you could deploy in the SaaS where each has an individual application and database. In that regard, that's basically a single tenant hosting. Ben, I don't know if you want to comment on any of those areas, but that's leveraging technology across multiple companies and multiple users. And Epicor 10.2 and the whole 10 stack in general is so much easier to upgrade and to maintain, that these are great options for you as well.
Correct. It's a great time to be considering a change here. If you got the question, we're happy to discuss it. You've got a lot of choices to make. You need to make decisions. You already heard the story on operating systems. Bruce just brought out the upgrade portion. Think about being hosted and someone else doing a lot of that admin management, so you can concentrate on what your real job is without sitting there babysitting servers daily, worrying about disaster recovery. This is a great time to be thinking about that. We'll happily discuss that at any time.
Excellent. Thank you. Moving forward to number 5, the new role-based. Oh, yes.
One quick point I'd like to make too is one of the benefits, if you move to a cloud environment, there's a difference between hosted, which is running your own stack, and someone else's environment. A lot of value with that. If you're in a true cloud environment, then everyone's running the same platform. And the value of that is that you get upgraded automatically. Now, that can seem kind of scary because of your upgrades and whatnot, but with cloud, the upgrades go more smoothly. The customizations get ported over with less heartache from your end. But the key thing is you're always on the latest functionality. That's a real key part of the business. And it kind of forces you to get in the cadence of staying up to date with the best practices. So that's another benefit of looking at a cloud implementation.
Absolutely.
Epicor 10.2 eases that in very easily.
Great.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Moving forward on to number 5 here, the Epicor 10.2 new role-based analytics. And I talked a little bit about it. It basically allows you to set up your homepage in order to have real-time data delivered to you that helps you make your decisions based on your business and the actual real-time data that's being delivered. It's incredible. I can't say enough about it. It's probably the most exciting feature that I've seen personally in quite some time. The other great part of it, as shown here on this screen, it's also set up for mobile. On the interface, you can actually lay out the interface of the environment, if you will, and you can actually choose on the interface whether you want to do it towards an iPad or a smartphone or a laptop or computer type deployment, and it will lay out and show you exactly what that will look like. It's really slick.
And hey, Bruce, one more quick point on the analytics piece. That's very exciting because, to be competitive going forward, you have to harness your own data and be able to glean actionable insights. And so that, kind of speaks to like big data and analytics. And those are very heavy topics, difficult for a lot of people to approach. I think that's kind of beyond my organization. What this is doing is giving you an easy, lightweight, capability to go in and harness your data and use that to make informed, data-driven decisions much faster than you can today. So that's a key capability, being able to act on your data moving forward. So this is an exciting development within the platform.
And I'd also like to add, a lot of these are pre-built. So once you enable the licensing on 10.2, it's there. You don't have to stop and build like you have in the past. These are there ready to go on whatever device you put it on. Think about it. Get up with your cup of coffee in the morning and look at the iPad or the iPhone to look at yesterday's numbers or production. Very handy item.
A little bit more on the EDD. Why did Epicor introduce the EDD, and why is the data visualization so important? As it mentions here, because of the way the human brain processes information, using charts or graphs to visualize large amounts of complex data, it's easier than poring over spreadsheets or reports. Data visualization is quick, easy way to convey concepts in a universal manner in which you can experiment with different scenarios by making slight adjustments. And again, I saw this firsthand demonstrated. You can go in and just tweak different variables, and it will update this matrix and information in the EDD on the fly. And again, it's right in the homepage for the user. So and you can also go in and add shortcuts to forms that you want to get to quickly. I mean, it's not just the EDD. You can put links to external web pages even from within the interface. So for example, if you're utilizing a customer, buyer, or supplier portal, you can put a link right within the Epicor environment to that portal. It's really slick. Again, a little bit more about the visualization. You can quickly identify areas that need attention or improvement, clarify which factors influence customer behavior, help you understand which products to place where, and predict sales volumes as well. A little bit further dive on this, meeting the need for speed, understanding the data, addressing data quality, displaying meaningful results, and dealing with outlying data points as well. And here's an example that I added in here, and it may be a little bit hard to see, but what you can do here is actually drag different items into your matrix, and it'll update. And you can also choose different display types on the fly as well, whether you want a pie graph, a bar graph, a scatter plot, things of that nature. And you can also go in and select different values on the right here, as I highlighted them in yellow. You can select different areas, and it will quickly add those to your matrix as well. It's the ease of use is incredible. I was very impressed by it. Moving forward onto item number 7, Mobile CRM. The Mobile CRM application, I've downloaded it to my iPhone, and it has the education database on the back end of it currently. And I was very impressed by this feature as well. I could quickly go in, I could look at different leads, different customers, all the CRM information right off an app that I downloaded from the App Store. It wasn't any setup and configuration on the phone required in that regard. It was quick, and you can, as it mentions here, you can manage the quote from opportunity to order. And I have some screenshots coming up. I'll show you some samples that I took as well. But you can look at case studies, competitors, order history, and as I mentioned, available on the Apple and the Android.
This is one of the best improvements I've seen. Very impressive mobile CRM.
Yep, definitely. As it mentions, it's a new product in the portfolio, next-gen modern mobile CRM app that's built to give you data quickly on the fly to your mobile. Also worth note, the Epicor Mobile Sales Assistant will be retired in 10.2, and Mobile CRM is replacing that. Talks a little bit about the target profile. It's great for new ERP customers or existing. Salesforce integration as well is an option here also. Just a little bit of overview. The CRM module is required. Probably figured that. Customers with CRM module can access it with Office user licenses. So it'll basically consume a CRM license when you're on the mobile CRM. These are some screenshots that I took off of my phone. So basically on the left here, this is just the main interface. Allows you to drill down into your customers. You can drill down into a specific customer, as I did here, the Ace Brown company. And then you can actually click right on their address and it'll open up and you can do your directions and information to that customer right within the interface as well, which I found to be pretty slick. A couple more screenshots that I had. Oh, I apologize. It jumped one too many on me. When you go into opportunities, you can drill down into an opportunity. You can actually go in and see the individual line items. So again, I'm looking at 4 different screens here from left to right. So I clicked on the opportunity, clicked further into it, then clicked on the lines, and you can come in and see each individual line item within the application. And the other thing was it was extremely responsive. I clicked on it and it was instantaneous. So I was very impressed with the CRM application as well. The mobile CRM, I should say. Number 8, another major area that's, I guess, improved is the Epicor field service automation. It's a fully integrated system for companies to manage all aspects of their service workforce, focused on service-centric industries, dispatching technicians to customer locations to provide installation, repair, or maintenance services for equipment or systems, and building maintenance. The Epicor FSA is a new product, as you're probably aware. There was a previous field service, but this product is replacing that. As it mentions here, if you're in multi-tenant, that will not be available at 10.2 GA, which is right now, but is planned within this first fiscal quarter.
Hey, Bruce, just a quick question there. This goes back to a conversation the 3 of us were having at the Ignite Sales Conference. Do you remember we were talking about this new field service automation capability and some of the existing capability, and we were just talking about some of the aspects current users may need to be cognizant of when looking at this new one. Is there anything we want to touch on right here?
Yeah, I guess really what the new tool set's going to do is give so much better information and data to the field. Ben, do you have more data on that you wanted to supply?
Well, it's going to provide a more in-depth look, a more in-depth management tools, the mobile piece that you got coming here in a moment. It's not going to be a replacement for this Epicor service module, but this is going to take field service to a whole new level. I've heard many people comment along the way, field service was not usable for them. This is going to make it very usable. Again, we're sitting here with the mobility of the phone, the mobility of the tablet, or your desktop. It's just, it opens up so many doors.
That's great. Okay, thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the areas that it's focusing on here, the call center, scheduling and dispatch, contract warranty and SLA management, resource and performance management, asset and maintenance management. Also has Maps integration similar to what I showed with the CRM, and inventory management as well. And here's some screenshots of the interface of the field service automation. As it mentions here, it's user-friendly, multi-platform HTML5 deployed and used on smartphones, tablets, laptops, or both online and offline communications. You can complete work tickets, review service history, manage inventory, access customer pricing, obtain electronic signatures, all with automated real-time capture.
And I know a lot of people have been looking forward to this for a long time. It's finally here.
The best features I apologize. Use the best features of each solution. It can utilize the Epicor ERP, the customer sales and inventory data, the accounts receivable management information, the costing and general ledger, and then on the Epicor FSA side, plan, receive, dispatch, and execute service calls, including preventive maintenance. It calculates prices, taxes, and charges to customers, and provide a first-class service scheduling and mobility experience. The phase one of this product deployment covers 18 integration points, is expected to cover about 80% of the field service scenarios. And then there's a future phase two plan to add more functionality and anticipate the gaps and cover those gaps with new tools to provide that service as well. The Epicor FSA will be launched with the ERP 10.2.100 in stages. Again, 10.2.100 has been released, so it's currently available for North America, Canada, USA, and Mexico, and US English and Spanish currently. The international launch will be rolled out by regions, and it'll start going out 90 days after the 10.2, so about 90 days from now. And again, the initial rollout will be for UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. A little bit more detail about the licensing. It's licensed by named users. The Epicor FSA office users don't need to match the Epicor internal office users, and the Epicor FSA field users includes mobile, and the Epicor FSA portal users. As it mentions down below there, the Epicor FSA does not require an Epicor field service module license. Number 9, on the Epicor Smart Inventory Planning and Optimization Platform. The Epicor Smart Inventory Planning and Optimization Platform is an integrated set of cloud-based applications for forecast, demand planning, and supply chain analytics that drive sales and inventory operations planning. It'll allow you to improve forecasting, and it's a key process for your company. Obviously, doing business today requires a holistic approach to inventory management. The real value resides on using the forecasting tools to drive inventory strategies. It offers convergence of robust forecasting methodologies, optimization techniques, and consensus demand and inventory planning delivered via an easy-to-use web interface accessible by any browser. Here's some examples of some of the forecasting tool sets here. Epicor Smart Demand Planner, the Epicor Smart Inventory Optimization, and the Epicor Smart Operational Analytics tools. Under the Smart Demand Planner, it can provide cloud-based statistical forecasting. It automatically selects the right forecast model for each item accounting for. You can do trend, seasonability, promotion, event-driven demand. A little bit more detail on these. It can the Smart Inventory Optimization delivers cloud-based inventory policy, decision support, and the means to share, collaborate, and track the impact of your inventory planning policy. More on the planning and optimization platform. As it mentions, it's going to be launched in the ERP 10.2.100, offered as cloud SaaS, hosted by Smart Software, available to both cloud and on-premise customers, and is backward compatible to 10.1.500. And talks a little bit about the availability here. 14 languages as listed there. The Epicor Smart Inventory Planning and Optimization Platform pricing and pricing and licensing. Access is based on named users. The Epicor Smart Inventory Planning Optimization Platform includes the items listed below there, the Epicor Smart Demand Planner, the Smart Inventory Optimization, and the Epicor Smart Operational Analytics. If all 3 modules are purchased together, the complete platform pricing is 20% less when bundled. So that's worth note as well. And the Smart Operational Analytics can only be purchased as part of the platform with either the Demand Planner or the Inventory Optimization, not individually. So number 10 on our list, Epicor Advanced Quality Management. The system has modules that cover all aspects of quality within the organization. Each module can have forms defined via the form builder with user-defined workflows and business rules. Group role-based security allows access to the distribution of data and includes secure external access. Workspaces, notifications, and escalations of assigned and past due tasks can be defined. Dashboards and analytics can also be used. Localization and a pre-built-in reporting engine with integration to an external systems via plugins and web services. All of these provide quality leaders with the up-to-date information they need. Each user has the information that is important to them with intuitive and easy to, I apologize, jumped ahead one on me. Each user has the data that they need at their hands to make quick decisions.
This is going to take quality management to a whole new level that you've never seen inside the application. It's going to be very flexible, very informational, without all the background processes.
Definitely. A little bit more detail on the advanced quality management. As you can see, there's a sample screenshot on the right there, but the UI has a completely redesigned interface, user configurable workspaces and forms and grids, configurable form rules, global search capability, watched records notifications, and direct link to support center from within the application. A little bit more here on it. The enhanced capabilities include the workflow configuration, creation and definition of new fields, the calendar view, activities log and the audit trail, the multi-location document storage, and real-time charting and reporting, as well as ability to develop your own reports and enhanced field level security. Here's a little bit more zoomed in view of the interface as well. Very similar to the redesigned homepage, the AQM workspace is designed to allow the user to define what they want to see when they log into the system. Charts, whether it be charts or specific reports that they want to access, and shortcuts that can be added to new pieces of data as well. The AQM, the Epicor Advanced Quality Management IQS Turbox will be available in December of 2017 for on-premise delivery. And it's compatible at 10.1.600 and up, as it notes there. Multi-tenant cloud delivery is planned to be available within the 10.2.200 release, as it mentions, spring 2018. And enhanced integration is based on RESTful web services. I know that was a quick tour and overview of some of the new features in 10.2. We're very excited about them. I admit I'm extremely excited, if you couldn't tell, about the new homepage interface and the opportunities there to develop and show your KPIs per user or per department. That's probably the area I'm most excited about, but obviously users have different needs, and we're excited to share further detail with them down the road.
That's great. Terrific job, Bruce and Ben. I know this was kind of challenging for you because you haven't really had a chance to play with this yet. And so we made this decision of, hey, do we want to balance boning up ourselves on this or getting it out timely to the user community as fast as possible? So we kind of struck a balance there. So great job working with material that's pretty new to you, new to all of us. Another thing to so I think now we can move into the Q&A section. We got some good time for that. So another thing to just talk about is, we will do a follow-on to this with the live demo. Couple of questions here. Ben, could you talk to us a little bit about the hardware requirements for 10.2 versus 9 or earlier versions?
Okay, so loaded questions, I like to say. Some of you have heard me say that before. 10.2 is going to require less hardware. That's a given. Now, we need to look at each individual situation. Hardware's changed a lot since 9 came out. You consider that the Epicor 9 is pushing almost 8, 9, 10 years old. Hardware's changed. So hardware requirements are going to be less, but this is also a good time to consider the hosting option as to whether you really need to invest money in hardware on premise and manage it, or which route to go. But you'd be pleasantly surprised. I'm happy to sit down and discuss this with you, each one on an individual basis, because each one is different. Does that suffice the question at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. If you have folks who have more specific questions on the hardware platform, let me know. One thing to also point out about the hosting is that it's running in a virtual environment. So if you do have a failure, the system can just spin up another one. So you add quite a bit of redundancy and resiliency to the operational aspect.
And that brings something else I'd like to add in real quick, Jeff. In Epicor 9, many of you are aware, Epicor discouraged the word virtualization. Virtualization works much better with Epicor 10. The system will run on any well-engineered virtual system. But the key word there is well-engineered.
Yeah, as always. Well, I imagine in going to a single stack, a technology stack, greatly simplified implementation, especially in a virtualized environment. Terrific. We've got some folks here that are running on 10.1 today. As a matter of fact, Daniel's on 10.1.603. But a couple other folks who mentioned too that they're on various versions of 10.100. Can we talk a little touch at all on the upgrade path from 10.1 to 10.2?
Very straightforward. I mean, you need to install 10.2. It's a new install. Move the database over, run the data conversion, and you're ready to go. This is the nice part about being current. You're on 10.1.600. You're very current. The upgrade path is very smooth, very fast. I'm still going to say you need to test. You cannot beat testing. If you short yourself on testing, you're going to get caught somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I would concur with that. Test, but definitely, spinning up a new 10.2 server, whether it be a VM or if you have a physical one, they wouldn't recommend that you install 10.2, to be clear, on an existing live production server. So you'd want to spin up a new VM for that, and or have some different physical hardware, and then install the 10.2. You could utilize the same SQL server that you're using for your production, if need be, but it's recommended as well, if you have the opportunity to spin up a second SQL server for that environment too.
Very good points, Bruce.
Thank you.
I know Jack was asking for specific hardware requirements and operating system requirements. Yeah. Ben, I believe you were actually pulling up some documentation of that for the client we were meeting with last week. Perhaps we can make that available to the group here.
We can make that available to the group. I mean, it is out on Epic Web right now. You can actually run this on your server 2008 if you want to, but let's consider the 2008 is going to be out of date very soon. Start looking at server 2012, server 2016, SQL 2016. A lot of this, the choice is yours, but you're putting it in place. Let's go ahead and put it in the most current system.
Absolutely. So we will follow up with the documentation. It is out there, but you know what? Everything's on the web, so it can be difficult to find. So we'll just send it to you directly.
Yep. Just let us know.
Yep. So we'll send that out to the entire list, folks that registered today. Let's see. There's some other questions here. Another question from Jack. Can SQL in the app, you must be referring to the mobile app, be run on the same system? Could you clarify that, Jack?
Yeah, I'm guessing he's asking if the Epicor application and the SQL server could be on the same box. I was working with a customer over the weekend, and Ben was as well, that have Epicor and their SQL on the same box. You just need to make sure that it's sized appropriately. People definitely do that and are live in that configuration. But SQL can try to consume the majority of your resources, and you want to make sure that's managed appropriately. That's my thoughts on it.
And let's look back. SQL, best practices of virtualization is you split SQL and the application. Once you get to 20 users, you really need to start considering splitting them. Now, if you're going to stay physical, which a few people are doing in rare instances, I've seen as high as 150 users of SQL and the app on the same server. But that's physical. If you're going virtual again, best practice is start splitting them off.
Okay, great. Hey, before I tee up the next question, Daniel asked Bruce if you could put up the slide showing the new homepage. Had the graphs and dashboards on there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can do that.
Maybe just to give them a better view of this, we'll turn our cameras off just for a minute or so we can get the best view. And we'll send this to you. So check that out, Daniel. And then let me go to a couple other questions here. Jack, I think we answered your question. You asked, so there are no in-place upgrades, meaning we can't do a hot cut over from 10.1 to 10.2. I think that was your question. Clarify otherwise, but guys, I think that's what is your response to that? Can we do
Well,
an in-place
You
upgrade?
can do an in-place upgrade, but you're playing with, I like to say you're playing with fire. It's very dangerous. You need to test.
Turn my camera.
And I can't reiterate test again. All it takes is one piece to take your business down. This runs your business. Small test.
Yeah,
system
as a matter of
has
fact, the
never hurt
Epicor
anyone in
upgrade
the
tools
past.
have a sandbox in the cloud. So even if you're doing an on-prem upgrade, you can still use that sandbox to test out the new implementation before you go live on it.
Correct. Yeah, Epicor does have some tools available that you could get a short-term, access to the latest version with your database on the back end of it. That's a great point, Jeff.
Great. Gerard has a question from Europe. They're using some very difficult configurators, or the configurator is challenging for them. Is there going to be a configurator improvement in 10.2? And let me know if I asked that question correctly, Gerard.
Do you know what version he's on currently? Did he mention that? There definitely is a great improvement from 9 to 10 in the configurator area. I guess I'm not sure if he's on a legacy version or where, but
he's on 10.1.400.
10.1.400. Okay. I don't understand. I guess I don't have the understanding that there's any new configurator rework done from 10.1 to 10.2. I'd have to do a little bit of research and get back with you on that.
Are you saying that you have some very complex configurations you set up, or that the configurator itself is you're finding it very challenging to use, and you're asking if there's going to be some improvements or enhancements in 10.2? Yeah, okay. I think he's saying it's difficult to use. They are programming in C# right now.
Sure. Yeah, configurator definitely takes some C# knowledge. I don't want to do a deep sales pitch on you, but we do have a couple of configurator experts.
Oh, come on, we're on a promotional webinar. Go for it.
Okay, we do have a couple of configurator experts on staff, and they're gurus in the configurator area. Our guy Brad in particular, if you'd like to have a brief conversation with him initially to talk about configurator and maybe some areas that he could point you towards or give you some assistance on, we'd be happy to line that up.
Cool. And, I also want to point out that we do have a promotion going on right now for upgrade custom tools and custom configurator work. So that's Brad's team. So I think we're going out at a reduced rate, and all you have to do is contract for those upgrades by the end of this year, and then have the work completed by the end of January. So if that's something we can help you out with, please let us know.
Yeah, great idea.
And I will include the link to that promotion in the notes here. Joanna was just saying to me that she has configurator reference guides. So thank you, Joanna, and we will include that in our follow-up to everyone here. See, we have some other questions. And Gerard, if you have more questions, just feel free. I'm going to jump in on another question here. So let's see here. I know that David was asking, could you speak to, and you might not have this yet because we're just getting into it, but can you speak to the security used for the mobile apps?
I do not have anything on that.
Okay, we'll take that as a deep dive question, and we'll get back to you. And I'm assuming you're talking about, the encryption in the system and, other types of AAA security in terms of access authentication. So here's Tammy's question. If a company is planning to upgrade from 10.1.400 to either 600 or 10.2, what would you recommend to the client if they want to be live by the end of the year? You mean as in December? But in 2018, is 10.2 too risky for that? Oh, all right. So is 10.2 too risky for that time frame since it's just GA now? So, Tammy, I think if your question, if I understand your question correctly, you're saying you want to do an upgrade by the end of this year, and should you go to 10.1.600 or 10.2, given that 10.2 is just launched?
Yeah,
it's just GA.
Can I comment on that one?
Please do.
First, Tammy, I commend your aggressiveness for this plan for the end of this year.
Sorry. She said end of December 2018. Thank
Oh,
you.
2018.
Jen.
Okay.
I was like, wow, that is one brave person.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she said a lot of resources.
Right. I was gonna say, yeah. But I do have some comments on that in general as well. The great thing, again, even if you're not a multi-tenant customer, the great thing about multi-tenant for all customers, all on-prem customers as well, is that the multi-tenant versions get released to all the customers early on. Like I don't know if it was 3 weeks ago, I think that 10.2 went GA for over approximately 400 customers in one weekend. And when they do that, it gets a lot of use and analytics and information back to Epicor, and they act on that quickly. It's incredible, and it's one of I guess one of the things I'm most excited about multi-tenant is that it provides so much information back to Epicor and the developers in a fast manner. And so, and to be clear, prior to these customers, 400 or so, going live on Epicor 10.2, they're given a pilot environment for several months prior to the go live, where they're doing testing and review in that area. These actual live customers have their live databases backed up, moved into this pilot or testing area. They review all their essential areas of the product and give feedback before the product even gets released live to the multi-tenant. And then once it goes live to multi-tenant, as I mentioned, basically you have hundreds of customers going live on an environment over a weekend. And there's all kinds of tools on the back end of that Epicor is able to utilize and say, okay, is there any areas that are having problems? Are there any errors, any issues? And they quickly release patches and things of that nature to resolve them. So that's been great. The multi-tenant, even, again, if you're never going to be a multi-tenant customer, it adds great value to all customers.
That's great. Thanks very much.
Sure.
We had a question here, whether there are MES, Manufacturing Execution System, updates in 10.2.
I personally haven't heard anything about the MES side in 10.2, so I'm not sure if there's any new functionality there. I'd have to review. We could definitely circle back on that question as well.
Yep. So we'll come back with a specific answer to that. Any of your questions here, if we don't have the answer today, we will come back with an answer, or if we have sort of a high-level answer, we'll fill in the details. Daniel, I know you asked this before, and I apologize I missed it. Do you need to have a separate license for the mobile CRM?
As long as you have CRM, it's going to consume one of the CRM licensing, to my understanding. Okay,
so if I have, let's say I'm a user and I have CRM on my desktop and I'm using mobile, is that consuming two licenses?
If you have it open on your desktop and you have it open on your phone at the same time, I believe that would be consuming two licenses.
Len, yes, we will be sending a replay of this, and we're happy to send the actual slides as well. We have a question here from Shaitan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Are the homepage dashboards customizable? So, can they have their own BAQs feeding the homepage dashboard?
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the great things about it.
Yes,
is that you can develop your own BAQs and customize, like the screen we're seeing here. You can drop in and put your own interface on there, driven off of your BAQs.
Okay.
And again, it's native to the 10.2 product. It's not any additional licensing.
Okay. Daniel has a question about testing levels between 10.1.600 and 10.2. Should they do full-on exhaustive test or just selective tests like quote to cache or whatnot?
Well, go ahead, Ben.
Well, that's a very delicate question. I mean, you need to sit down and look. You should test everything, but at the least, you need to make sure you can keep your business's doors open. And you have to know what those specific functions are. It's okay to miss one little thing probably, but it's not okay to miss
I
several.
admit
So
I am
I'm a
as
big
well,
believer
and
in
it
full
really
testing.
depends. I guess the answer to that question is it depends how well you want to sleep at night. That's my answer. And you know, I'm not trying to be funny about that, but if it were me in that scenario, and I've been on many go lives with customers as a project manager, you know, really, as Ben mentioned, you know, you want to test as much functionality as you can, and definitely get your subject matter experts involved and get them testing. But, you know, and I don't want to fall back on this, but I will state that, you know, the products that are being released now, these versions are so much tighter than some of the things that came out previously, just for that sole reason, as I mentioned earlier, that there's already hundreds of customers that went live on these products. But that doesn't mean that, obviously, that there couldn't be something that creeps up that's unique to your specific business. So I would recommend, you know, obviously test as much as you can and get your team involved, is my recommendation.
Great. I do just want to make note that we are at the top of the hour, which is the official scheduled end. We are certainly happy and to stay on for as many questions as you'd like. And for those who need to drop, we will be making the entire recording available as well as all the questions and additional resources. So if you need to drop, don't feel that you're going to miss anything. And if you have any additional questions you just haven't got time to bring up right now, or we didn't quite get to everything, give us a call. At the end of this, we're going to send you to a landing page, and you can either ask your question right there, but we also have Bruce's contact info that you can reach out to us directly. And many of you know Ben directly as well, so just reach out to us. Okay, let's see. I think there was also another aspect to Daniel's question, and I may or may not be getting this correct, but he was asking about patches. So between different patch levels, maybe not an entire upgrade, what type of testing would you recommend?
Okay, so this is more on the regular cadence patches that are coming out, is my guess. I mean, the cadence is about every 2 weeks or so. It kind of varies, but you know, there's patches. Those are minor patches. Those aren't schema changes to the database. You know, it's definitely, those patches are released to multi-tenant before general release as well, and that's great. Again, I guess at any point, anytime you, whether it's Epicor or any software, anytime you introduce changes to a production environment, you know, you could introduce a situation. So at a minimum, quote to cache, has been mentioned, would be ideal. I would recommend getting some procedures in place so that when you know, this is an ongoing thing, right? Patches and new releases come out. I would have a certain testing scenario or script, if you will, that you run through each time you do a patch. And EstesGroup has things like that available that kind of can give you a baseline for that type of testing as well.
That's great. Gerard has another question here. They have they have many BAQs and dashboards of their own. So he's understanding that in 10.2, the database schema and actual database has changed and they'll have to do a conversion. Can you speak to how much or how sure we are that all the pre-configured reports will work with the new schema and the new conversion?
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. The first thing would be that Epicor has some great tools in place now. So I assume he's coming from an older version, 905 or something like that. And there's some great tools that they have in place. The main one being the analyzer tool. And we can work with you, or you know, assist, or you can work with your CAM even to get that analyzer tool. And what that will do, and if you're not familiar with it, anyone on this call, it's free to get it and it's free to run it, and it'll go through and it'll basically do analytical representation of all your customizations, all your ports, things of that nature, and it will give you feedback as to how they're going to upgrade. And it kind of gives you, I guess, a high-level view of what areas might need extra attention on an upgrade. And again, that's only coming from 10.1 to 10.2. Those tools don't come into play, but from previous versions, 9 and earlier.
Well, He's on 10.1.400.
Oh, I apologize.
Hey, Bruce.
Oh, hey, Tim. Great.
Hey,
Thanks
Tim.
for joining.
Hey, Bruce. It's Tim.
How are you?
Sorry I joined late. Yeah. So there hasn't been the official announcement yet, but those tools
Oh,
will now
great.
run on
Thanks, Tim.
any version of 10x as well. So, yep. So you can just provision your customers, and or we can help provision them, which means creating a user ID, and then they can run the analyzer. And we had a separate session on that about a month ago, but as Jeff and Bruce said, we'd be happy to kind of walk you through that process just to show you what it is. By the way, even if you're not planning on upgrading, it's a great tool just to give you, kind of an inventory of your system basically.
Absolutely.
And then
Thanks,
later
Tim.
on, if you decide to upgrade,
I mentioned
you have
that word
information.
free, right? So that's always
Yes,
attractive.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get too many things for free these days,
that's
but that
great.
is an absolute
So,
free
Tim,
one for sure.
I don't know if you wanted to do this, not to put you on the spot, but I do have some of your old slides from that previous webinar. If you wanted to talk to this point specifically, I could just put them up on screen for you.
So yeah, so the whole purpose, those of you who are on really any version of Epicor, know that there is challenge with upgrading and converting and, kind of working through the process. And, again, the EstesGroup does a great job in helping with that process of upgrading, and they have a strong process for doing that. But in a lot of cases, you kind of almost went into it blind from the standpoint of, what do we have? What's our inventory of information? And then how do we make it easy, right? Because if you happen to run into something with the database upgrade, then in a lot of cases it would stop and you get errors. So this program's kind of geared towards, first, let's identify or analyze your information, and then kind of move on from that. So
I was trying to go full screen, and
if you want to
ended up
move,
yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on a second there.
Oh, were you? Okay. Yeah. So we'll pop up in a minute. There's kind of almost a wheel diagram that just talks at a high level what the tooling does. We're, for the most part, we're leveraging things that are already in existence, but we have added a little bit to them. So,
great.
For example, yep, that's the perfect one to talk about. So, the analyzer is absolutely a new tool, and the CloudView piece is a new tool. But, the upgrade itself, that's using, for the most part, the standard process, except that we've added, some of the data scrubbers that you used to have to download separately. We've added reconciliation reporting logic. So, there's pieces that are added. But if we back up a step, the analyzer is that tool that we just talked about. It's a free download. You can, even if you're off maintenance, we can set you up to go ahead and run that to get an idea of your environment and stuff. And certainly if you're on maintenance and you have an Epic web account, that's a really easy step to do. All you'll have to do is download it to your application server, run it. It'll bring some statistics up to our cloud environment, and then it'll generate a report that you can literally step through and see things like, how many BPMs do I have, and would we consider them complex or easy? If you're an Epicor 9 customer or a Vantage customer, you can see, did we have progress code in it that has to be converted? How many UI customizations? Pretty much any piece that is we were talking about a little bit earlier, that you should retest those, and in some cases convert those, and that gives you something that can drive your test plan for as well. And like I said before, even if you aren't upgrading, you can run this maybe on a monthly basis and get ideas of transaction volumes and user counts and things like that as well. If you decided you wanted to move forward with an upgrade, then this is where the tooling helps as well. And at this point, it no longer is free. So the EstesGroup, or if you talk to your CAM, whoever you're working with, can put together kind of an offering that would show you, hey, this process would be, evaluating the customizations. We would help you upload the database using the packager and transfer, and then it would convert. And one of the values of the package is that, we've got a team that's basically just monitoring the database as it converts. And we also provide two different environments. One we call a vanilla environment, and the other is the converted environment. So immediately your users can actually start looking at, what's new in 10.2, and what does it look like? Can we Do we want to start customizing those home pages? Do we want to do some training on it? While at the same time, in that other environment, either you or your partner or Epicor resources can come in and start migrating and converting the things that didn't convert automatically. And by the way, some will convert automatically, but there are a list of ones that won't. And of course, the closer you are, as we get into the 10x, there's obviously a lot less conversion that needs to take place. The one on the bottom that says convert, that's really referring to, the fact that, again, the EstesGroup has resources that'll help you convert, things like customization, C# code from ABL, all those things that don't convert automatically. And then there is an environment, that if you don't have your hardware in place, there is a CloudView environment that you can leverage, potentially depending on, whether that's something you need or not, that gives you immediate access to those environments. And then finally, I mentioned the Learning Center as well. So that's the program. And again, the purpose of it is to make it easier for you guys to upgrade, do it quicker, generally more cheaply than it would have been, previously to update
That's
or upgrade
great.
using our services.
That's very helpful, Tim. And I know you're traveling, so you're really going above and beyond jumping in here. And I can't see my console right now.
Yeah, could I chime in? I see Andrew had asked, is the validation tool available for cloud only? No, it's actually available for on-premise customers or even hosted customers who are hosted off-premise by a third party, really anyone running Epicor, correct, Tim?
It is, yeah, and thanks for mentioning that, because when you see cloud, you assume, I would assume cloud as well. What that's referring to is that we're doing the conversion up in a cloud environment, so we're actually taking the database, leveraging some servers and some processing and some things like that, and then we deliver the databases back to you
if you purchase
after they're converted.
actually decide to purchase conversion after running the analyzer. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
If
so
you do,
yeah,
thank you. Yes.
The analyzer
good
tool will give you
clarification.
information, which again is free, and it's great. I highly recommend anyone remotely interested in it get that tool and run it and see the information that's currently in your system, basically. And then again, if you chose to do an upgrade of the database itself, and again, there's some great pricing, attractive pricing available. So even doing in my opinion, and it's easy for me to spend your money, but in my opinion, doing a conversion of the database, the price point has come down so far that it really makes sense to say, yeah, we'd like to do a test conversion and see what this looks like and get us up to 10 and take a look at it. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, the interesting thing for those of you that tried to convert in the past, I know there's been some challenges as well. We've had 100% success rate in converting all the databases that we've put up there, and the reason isn't because it's not just because the tooling's better. It is better, but it's because that monitoring team is literally sitting there and they're waiting for something to blow up, and then they're writing fixes to fix that, and then they resubmit it. So in the past, you might have had to do that 4 or 5 or even up to 10 times. Support, get a fix for it, and then rerun it. So it's not only more successful, but it's greatly reducing the amount of time it might take to get a very difficult database converted. And as probably all there's the data in Epicor, depending on how you added it, it's certainly possible that you've got some bad data in there, which is why you had all those data scrubbers in the past.
There's another question sitting out here. I'll handle it, I think, for you, Tim. The question is, if the European market is behind, what about other languages? I wouldn't say the European market is behind. It's just that everything is not fully developed yet for 10.2 on all the European languages. Did that help you, Gerard? Where can they find the analyzer tool, Tim?
Yeah, so good question. If you go to basically upgradeservices.epicor.com, that's where you would download from. But what you should do is just email your CAM and tell them you've heard about the analyzer and you'd like to run it. Or if you're a direct customer of EstesGroup already, their team can provision you as well.
Great.
Okay. And then also the question is asked when the other languages can be expected. They're in development, I would say, within the next few months. I hate to leave it that open, but
I'll take that as a following
kind of where
question
they're
so I can
at.
get a more specific answer. So the question is, what's the timeline for additional languages? Well, I know we are considerably past. I think there's still at least 25 people or so on, so that's terrific. It's clearly a timely subject. But I do want to be respectful of everyone's time. But we have Tim here, and we have two experts, so we can still stay. So if you have other questions, now's a great time to ask them. When I end this webinar, you're going to be taken to a landing page. So if you have other specific questions or you'd like to speak with us, just go ahead and let us know in that landing page or reach out to Bruce directly, and we'll be happy to talk with you. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you for investing some time with us with the EstesGroup and Epicor today.